To comment during the Frankly Speaking show, you first need to open the video that is being streamed live. Look for the chat box on the side or bottom of the video player. This is where you can type your message. Click inside the chat box and use your keyboard to type out what you want to say. You can type words, use emojis, or even ask questions. Once you've typed your message, press the Enter key on your keyboard or click the Send button. Your comment will then appear in the chat for everyone watching the live stream to see. If you want to send another comment, just type it in the chat box again and press Enter or Send. Your new comment will show up below your previous one.
Go. Latest in a series underlining the rapid unraveling of Jamaican society. Listeners, viewers, this is a coarse place to live in. It has been going downhill for years with no intervention from the government and its agencies. The rot has set in the communities and even in the police force. From our discussion in previous weeks on the health system, we should see too that the rot has been there too. It's how we talk to each other, treat each other like dirt, how the ghetto has become the lifestyle and behavior, even of professionals. There are many questions to ponder from the near 6-minute video I referenced at the start, showing an officer trying to arrest a woman and to put her in the rear seat of a police jeep. We have a special guest today, recently retired Senior Superintendent Steve McGregor, who has more than enough experience to tell us what went wrong there. Our regular panelists, Mary White and Desmond Richards, are with us today. Winnie is away today. We apologize on her behalf. I'm Frankly McKnight. Before we go over to retired SSP Steve McGregor, let's hear quickly from Desmond and then Mary what they're going to take up. Desmond?
Yes, well, I intend to look at this troubling issue of landlessness and the poor public service that the public is getting. If time permits, I also want to look at the situation in the United States where the president is convicted, but is still able to run as president or run for the office as president.
Former President Donald Trump.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Mary, quickly.
Today, I'm looking at a saying that we say all the time, that we're wonderfully and fearfully made. But just are you super aware of just how true that statement is? Because I'm going to share with you 3 automatic built-in triggers by the Almighty that can actually save a life, your life. So stay tuned.
Beautiful. 3 triggers. I don't like the word triggers there, you know. And you're talking about life, but never mind. I'm joking. We jump right into the discussion with SSP Steve McGregor. It is said that the confrontation we're referencing took place outside a school where the woman seen, and Joshua is going to play us that video now. Just a little piece of it where the woman seen grappling with the police had been disruptive. The police were called to the school to remove her, and this is a small portion of what happened. Take a look.
Mommy, stop and confront, please. Mommy, go into the vehicle. You call them anytime. Go into the vehicle. Mommy, say go. That's what I'm saying. You're going to the vehicle. Okay. Go into the vehicle. No, go in on the vehicle. What's your name? Leg off of me here. Mommy, why is that? She don't know right now. She leg off of me here. Go into the vehicle. Mommy, go into the vehicle. Mommy, relax. Leg off of me here. Mommy, she asked me something. Mommy? Let go, mommy. Who wants to know what? Officer. Just go in the No, but she, mommy. Put up his hand. Let go, mommy. Mommy, stop it, mommy. Just go. Mommy, here. No, here, it's like a man. Go stop it, man. Hello, she come out and she say, just relax.
Well, SSP McGregor, tell us your thoughts when you first saw this. And we're just reminding people this is not in a pre-apartheid, post-apartheid, apartheid South Africa, sorry, nor in Gaza. This is Jamaican on Jamaica. SSP, thank you for being with us, sir.
Well, I know the incident didn't start that way, and some due diligence that I did provide me with some information that this lady was behaving terrible from in the school, hurling expletives at the principal, threatening to do a lot of things, and almost got into a confrontation within the school about something to do with a child that she has attending the school. That's how the police was called into the situation. What took place outside is clear that the lady was being reluctant to be approached by the police. Now, there are two scenarios. The police could have dealt with it in a more efficient manner. In that, if the lady, and it is good that it is a female that was dealing with her, and it is clear that the female police officer exercised restraint in her effort to apprehend this lady. Because you notice she even had a firearm. It seemed as if she had other implements that could have been used, but she didn't do that.
Sorry, SSP, you're right, SSP, but sorry, but I want to hear you out. But is that what would be right to do, to exercise what you call restraint?
Well,
here?
Listen, the police officer was clearly acting on to arrest this lady, because it is apparent that the police officer had grounds to arrest her. There were other police officers there. I could see one other. She could have been assisted, but I'm thinking that because it was a female, the other police officer wanted the female to do so on her own. There's another approach that the police could have used. The fact that an incident took place in the school, and there's record of the lady having a child at the school, and she was behaving in this terrible way. The police officer could have let her go in that.
Absolutely.
Not to hold on. He could have let go of her and to see what she was going to do.
And go back later with 30 other police officers.
Exactly.
And just take her
No,
out.
you don't have to go for 30 other police officers. A cooling off period would take place for both the police officer and the person that was to be arrested, meaning they would go back home. And it is obvious that the police officer felt disrespected from some incident that took place before. So, you know, in hindsight, I think she was taking it a little bit too personal. She could have let her go, because the offense would not have been that grievous to carry through, and it could have been worse. So they could have found her at her home, do the prosecution process, do everything when the cooling. And that is one of the things that would teach our police officers. That
I know my colleague Desmond want to come in, sir, but
yeah, you can take an
ACP I spoke with
approach. No, there are other incidents that have taken place in recent times, and it is clear that the citizens are being very reluctant in being arrested by the police, and the bystanders are the more serious ones. They are the ones that are causing most of the problem. You know, those who are standing by, jeering on the person not to do this and not to do that, and they don't know how serious this is and how serious it can be for the person that we're trying to arrest. Before I came on, we were talking about, hold on a minute. Before I came on, we were talking about community-based policing. And a lot of people misunderstand what community-based policing is. It is not soft or hugging up children and so on policing. It is policing with the consent of the people, meaning that the people must be the centerpiece of whatever strategy you use. So I'll go back to that. You want to move on, but go on, and I'll go back to what
I don't want to move on. I want to give Desmond, who was itching, a chance to ask a question, but I also want to ask a question. Other police that I've spoken to, including one who said you are the best man to talk about it, and ACP said that you, though recently retired, are the best man to talk about it. One of them said the woman's feet should have long been kicked away and she should have been on the floor. She should have been on the ground. A. B. Another one said, what happened to pepper spray? C. Another one said, handcuffs. Police training is wrong. Can I get your comments on those?
No, the police training is not wrong, because all that you speak of, police officers are taught to do this. But one must not be armchair judge and think that it is as easy as you say, because the situation that prevails might not give you the opportunity, and you yourself, as I am thinking, might just not be aware because of the situation. And this is one of the things that I tell the public. These police officers are human beings like yourself, and they will be hurt when you kick and throw expletives and hurl all kind of things at them, and they will not be on top of their game at the time. So it's not something for you to do. I know that if this young officer, the female officer, got another chance to do this, she would do it in a different way. So she could have used handcuffs, she could have used pepper spray, but all of those could have made the situation worse if you saw what the lady was pushing off in her effort not to be arrested. So there are a lot of things that you can use at the time, but you are to be under control of the situation. The female officer tried. She could have done better, but I want to give her credit for trying and the kind of restraint that she used. I don't know how it ended up, or it concluded, but I know that the lady was eventually arrested and all of that. But what I'm talking about, the answer to this, because I'm very concerned about it, because you're seeing it happening. I saw one with some police officer trying to arrest a man, and even the gun was being used to hit him and so on. The answer to this is community-based policing. And I tell you how, and I give you a quick rationale to what I'm talking about. When I was in charge of West Kingston, on my first enter to West Kingston, all the news media and people were asking me, what kind of strategy are you going to use, Mr. McGregor, to deal with the crime and violence in West Kingston and the shootings and murders? I told them that I am going there to make a connect with the citizens. You will see what come next. So they said they speak, and I said, just give me a chance, and you will see that. In my effort to make a connect with the citizens of West Kingston, you know what came across to me? The citizens of West Kingston were not concerned about murders and shootings, you know. You know what they were concerned about? Dances. Oh, they will be able to eat the food. The citizens of West Kingston at that time had a self-inbuilt approach to the crime and violence there, where they were dancing between the raindrops of the murders and shootings, if you understand what I'm saying. They were existing in that situation. So when I found out that dances and fry as they call it, round robins, were their concern, I crafted a police crime reduction strategy with my police officers there around night noises, how we will manage dances. So if shots and people are being murdered in your community, you don't get any dance. So they now have a vested interest in ensuring that no shootings and so on take place in their community. And again, when I tell you about community-based policing, the commanding officer must have a face, a voice, and a name. I told them that if they invite me to their dances, the dances is go along as Steve McGregor stays, and I was the boss around there then. So everybody wanted to invite Steve McGregor to their dance in West Kingston. So you see how the things start to spread. On a given night at 12 midnight, I would take the mic at any one of these dance, and for 5 minutes or less, I would send my message to the community. And the rest is history. You realize what happened when they were transferring me from West Kingston, the people there, Block Road, because we brought down the murder rate to less than 30 because of that policing with the consent of the people. Fast forward to this incident. Now, if say the police officer had released the woman, she comes from a community. Let's say she comes from the community that the police officers came from. The commanding officer must send in their community safety officers in the community to find out what is happening. Set up a meeting with that community and let them know the consequences of the actions of this lady and how it will meet the community also. Because if the community is reluctant to receive the police, the community will have a challenge in getting things like dancing.
Desmond, your time, but I want to follow up on SSP, but I want you to go ahead, Desmond.
All right, go ahead.
No, the only thing I would say is this, that when a police decide to arrest you, that is a forceful decision, because when you are arrested, your freedom is restricted, and therefore anybody whose freedom is going to be restricted will not agree to that. So once the police take a decision to arrest a person, then they must understand that that is something that will require some force.
Not all the time.
Because
everybody who will be.
Hold on, SSP. Yeah. Hold on. There are people who you can tell to come to the station and they will come.
Yeah.
Right? But once you decide to arrest a person, on most occasions, they are going to resist. So, and this video that we are looking at, I would expect that you mentioned it a while ago, that the nature of the offense that was committed is one that could be summoned. You could address it with a summons. But once you take the decision to arrest the woman, then
arrest her.
You must.
Make the whole force look weak and
you must be prepared.
Weak and incompetent and untrained.
Of what you are making a judgment of one.
There ought to be when a police, or I know it, when a police decide to arrest you, there ought to be no fight between you and the police.
Exactly.
No.
If I may jump in here.
The police is authorized to use as much force as is necessary to bring you under control. So when you are being arrested and you resist arrest, it has consequences.
Of course, you're asking.
Yeah.
Ruby,
time. Go ahead, Mary. Go ahead. You've been trying to get it.
I have a comment, if I may, and I asked Ruby on her thoughts on the video, one of our guests, and she's saying that both of them were wrong. However, the police officer acted unprofessionally from the clip that we're seeing. So I agree with her to an extent, but I also agree with Brother Desmond that this woman was asking to be forcefully arrested. And I must say I admire the restraint of that female, because I was that officer and me tell her to get in that vehicle and she'll grab up my blouse, God help her, with the gun pop my hip, me a knock her, me a gun butt her out. And half a ground me a punch her and bring her to the hospital first, then bring her to the cell. She think me never stand up and wrestle with her, gun butt for her backside.
SSP.
Yes.
Yes, sir. So I want to ask you something, and a lot of the responses I've heard have come from in the vein that Mary have said. But I want to ask you something. It is clear that people in the society are forcing up, are angry, are at war with the force. It's clear that many people are objecting. As you see, as you said, people on the sidelines are interfering. Look at the boy officer, go on here, explicit, etc. What is the police's response to this? Because it is not getting any better.
Well,
I know you are not in there now, and
listen,
people are joining.
I have been saying this from I was a police officer. We underestimate the indisciplined nature of our country, Jamaica. This country, Jamaica, has been averaging over 1,000 murders per year for the last 15 to 20 years. Hold on.
No, 21 years.
All right,
20
fair
years.
enough. But listen, I'm giving you a preface to my argument. We are a eater food country. We do everything against the rules and regulation. So when you see this play out, it is not surprising to me. What you use to temper this in your neck of the woods, your community that you police, is what I use to practice as a commander. You must let them know what you are about as the commanding officer, so that when your police officers go out there to do the work, they allow them to do the work. But you balance it. You let them know if your officers are in the community doing bad work. You can take footage, which is one of the new things now, yourself, and you make them know that you as a commanding officer will act upon this. You bring this to them. The police officers have our numbers. It is clear nowadays. The vehicle is there, the timing of the offense, and you let them know that not to interfere with the police whilst the police is doing their work. But you have to go out. You have to leave your office and go
But
out.
SSP, that this has been going on for years
Yeah,
now.
but that
This
is what we hear.
deterioration.
No.
This confrontation with the police is years it's going on, sir.
Okay.
I've been on scenes where people just telling the police, go away, stand up in their face, come out, go you went and tell him this and that about them. It's years it's
No,
been
but
going on.
Franklin,
It's
hold
years
on.
it's been going on in Jamaica and the police
Yeah,
have
but
not
it is
done
dealt
anything
with.
about
It is dealt with in
Franklin.
different ways, though.
Yes,
Franklin, one of the things that you must remember, you must remember the history of the police force, remember that you are right. The people, remember the police force is an organization that was created not to support the people, It was created to support, to oppress the people. Remember how it came about, the history of the
Yes, but
force.
that's why we've gone past
so
that
all
a
I know-
long time,
No, hold on.
No, we have gone past that because we have a force.
No, we have not.
taking
No, hold
back
on. No, the years have rolled on. No, Mr. McKnight, the years have rolled on. But what has not has rolled on is that, remember, the people have remained where they are, The policing in Jamaica is to a large extent, is done along class lines, right? You realize how the police operate when they are down in West Kingston or downtown, and how they operate.
Desmond, we have lost Desmond there. Mary,
Yes.
you had another comment, and then we'll go back to SSP, and then we'll liberate him. I just wanted to ask him about his community policing again.
I don't like it. I see what's happening there, Sir Mac. It's just a small segment of what is happening in the wider society. A total disrespect for law and order and a people that are not socialized to goodness or to be good citizens. That's just what is happening in Jamaica right now, because the values are falling so low, where the low class people are now put up as idols and models, and the younger people coming up believe that this is the way to go, and people who are law abiding are cast aside and ridiculed. So it's not going to get any better. God Almighty needs to come in.
Desmond, your last comment before SSP makes his final comment, and we'll move on. Your last comment, Desmond. I don't buy that argument about the police and the citizens. I don't buy it. It's an excuse about the deprivations and the deprived behavior generally that we see in the society. But Desmond, you go ahead. I don't want to stand up on it.
No, my comment, final comment is that the society, the Jamaican society, is still a class-based, stratified society, where all services, most of the things are operated along class basis. Law and order services, they are distributed and administered along class basis. The people in the lower classes, they have been socialized to disrespect authority because authority disrespect them. This is the society that we have been living in for decades.
So what caused that? Well, I won't, but I was going to ask you what caused that woman to behave like that if you think it's the stratification of society. But let's just, SSP, retired SSP, Steve McGregor, will give you the last minute
I'll
or
start
to
with
wrap up the
solutions.
argument.
I'll start with solutions because the time might be short. The PR side of the JCF must now put together a response because this is getting really serious for me, the amount of these incidents. So they need to put out something from the PR side, the do's and the don'ts for citizens as also the police officers when they are arrested.
Sorry, let me just intervene to say that they did put out something, SSP.
Yeah, but that's not what I mean. Not in response to, not in response to the incident. Follow me. They need now to run ads speaking to what is expected from citizens when the police officers are in the communities doing their work. Not just to this instant. They need to resensitize to the citizens as what to do and what not to do. In their respective communities, all the commanding officers must now engage their constituency and use this as a subject matter and to address the behavior of citizens as also their police officers in the communities and what they can do and how they should behave. This must be a continual practice by the commanding officers. And if they know me, they know this is what I spit out every time. You cannot sit in your office and run a community, especially the inner city ones. You have to be out there. You have to mix with the people, let them know what you're for, and you hear from them so that you develop a relationship with them. The meaning of community-based policing is policing with the consent of the people. The people must be an integral part of
SSP,
whatever
we're going to wrap up or we're going to get cut off. And thank you very much, SSP.
Yeah.
Steve McGregor, recently retired SSP. Mary, your some comments coming in and you want to read them quickly.
Yes, let us that. We have Aaron. I'm not sure if Aaron is a new guest, the first time seeing him, to say, please remember that citizens have rights too, that the police have not earned the respect of the citizens, including mine. Aaron, I'm going to say this. The office of Prime Minister or etc. An office have nothing to do with earning respect. It's there to control. It's a part of the system. And regardless of who is in the office, we need to respect certain offices as Jamaica is going down in the gutter. We have Rose coming in, thinking that this lady may be suffering a mental breakdown, possibly, but it does not change the fact that you have to respect the office of the police. They're there for a reason and demand respect no matter what, in my view. Earl,
sorry, we didn't get to all the comments.
You explain.
We're going to be cut off in a minute, so thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us for this 125th episode of the Frankly Speaking Jamaica Podcast. Special thanks to retired SSP Steve McGregor. Thanks to Desmond. Thanks to Mary. We apologize. And it is Joshua Black. Sorry, we were to take all of the comments online, but Mary did a good job with it. And we ask you to join us again next week, God willing.